Hello and welcome to a product review video. This is another selection of TrixBrix corners and ballast pieces. So with the expansion and rebuild of my layout, I do need to eventually get on with some wider radius curves, and here they are. So the standard R40 curves that LEGO make are nice, I suppose. I mean, they're very plentiful, but they are so sharp, and my express trains going around them is quite dangerous at high speeds, because this nearly happened at LA Fest, and you didn't actually see this on camera, was the fact that they jolted around the corner so quickly, they basically derailed and nearly fell off a table. It's very dodgy to kind of continue with that, so wider radius curves is absolutely the way to go. So I'm going to start off with the R56 tracks, which are the kind of inner track pieces that I got, and these will be on the inside of the corners, where the outsides will be R72s. So you can get these in packs of 8, and these are injection molded. This is enough to get half a circle. So 2 packs of these will create one whole loop, which is all I need for my layout. Now again, these are injection molded, so these are proper good quality. And these are fairly long for curved pieces. I mean, this is the first time I'm actually handling other brand curves, I suppose. I'm so used to the standard R40s that this looks and feels a bit weird, but at the same time I'm so happy and welcoming to it, because the wider radius already is something I am very excited about, because having mentioned the trains going around the corners at higher speeds just makes this so much easier, as well as much smoother. This is one of the biggest selling points for these corners. Whilst getting this kind of on base plates is going to be a bit more tricky, because they will take up more space, obviously the circle is going to be bigger, it is again absolutely worth it. Now let's have a look at the ballast pieces, which are sold separately. Now, I should probably mention at this point before we go on that I am not sponsored in any way. I'm just someone who bought these products and just wants to talk about them. But these ballast pieces are separately sold, and these are actually quite interesting, because this is the only ballast piece I've seen for a curve that comes in 2 different sections. So as you can see here, there is a left and right, where there is a kind of split down the middle where you can tell which one is which. And for a while, when I had the bag and I had all of the sort of left side, I suppose, on one sort of end of the bag, I thought, oh my god, they got the pieces wrong, something's happened. But then I saw that there was another end to it, and I thought, oh, thank goodness. So yeah, it does fit nice and snug on the track pieces. You can pick them up, give it a bit of a wave around. There's not going to be any loose areas, and I think that's pretty good. If it was one big piece, something could go wrong during the printing process, and you can see the difference in the shade of dark grey where it's 3D printed and injection molded between the ballast and the curved piece itself. But it's not the end of the world. I mean, when you buy something like this, you should be familiar with what you are getting. And again, I'm not too picky with this sort of thing, because I'm still fairly new to this sort of thing when it comes to LEGO train making. I'm still expanding the layouts and learning, and getting new things like this is something I am very much, again, welcoming to, and I'm very excited when I finally get to put these on the layouts themselves. So now let's talk about the R72 curves. Now these once again come in packets of 8, but only make up a quarter of a circle. Again, these are much larger radius, so you are going to have to buy 4 of these in order to make a complete loop. It is going to get a bit expensive, but honestly I think it's worth it. Whilst I haven't been able to set up a full loop with this yet, obviously this is a massive radius already, at least for my room, I would still consider it worth the purchase. So this is actually a fairly small track piece, but when you see it together, it's actually really cool. I've been able to put some of these together to make half a loop, and that's as much space as like anywhere in my house can really permit. And it's also really good because there are models out there that you can't get away with making on standard R40s, or even the R56s I mentioned earlier. So something like this, and even wider, can permit weirder and wackier builds. Massive train wheels, like 12 normal train wheels on one rigid base. That's the sort of thing you can go with this sort of radius of curve. So yeah, I think that's really cool. So we got a similar story with the ballast pieces. Again, the ballasts are sold separately, and these are also a bit unique in their own way. I'm pretty sure there's something like this for wider radius curves on the website, but don't confirm it with me here, because again, that's not something I have looked into. So as you can see with one of the ballast plates here, if I can get the camera to behave, there we go. So you can see that the studs on the ballast piece are actually slightly offset. you can get two versions. One is called a left ballast piece and the other is called a right ballast piece. Now, I'm not too sure which one I bought, I can't remember, but for me it doesn't matter. This is basically for the sleepers that will go across the rails, and I'm probably going to have to relay all the sleepers on my other builds anyway, because when it comes to laying down the curves on the layout, this is what's going to determine which direction the sleepers are based in. So having another look at the curve piece themselves with the ballast piece laid on them, it's very snug, just like it is for the R56. I can shake this around and it won't come loose at all. It was actually a bit of a tight fit to put these on, and I'm actually really okay with that because I'd rather they were tighter and kind of stuck together like this instead of them being really loose, and whilst they'd be easy to take off, it could also mean it will be too easy to take off. That was a sort of thing I ran into with the R40s a while back, and yeah, I'm actually quite glad I'm not going to be bumping into that again, but at least not for now. There might be one or two of these ballast pieces that will misbehave on either of the two radius curves that I bought, but still, a much tighter fit on a much different curve piece. I am very excited to be able to play with this properly. So there we go, thank you ever so much for watching. This has been an interesting look at the R56 and R72 curves here. I do apologise for the few moments earlier in the video where I was stumbling over my words. It's just, there's so much to talk about with these. I've had to kind of contain myself and be careful with what I actually say because, again, there is a lot to mention and there's a lot I want to kind of go into when it comes to playing and working with these curves. But that's all for another time. Now, I'm not going to be getting these on my layouts just yet. There is a show coming up around February, March time. Details still aren't confirmed yet. I will make sure to make the appropriate post at the time of the show being confirmed. And I'm going to be taking the corner modules I have for my layers at the moment to that show. So they still have the standard R40s on them. After that show, I will go ahead and make the changes to feature these wide radius curves because it's going to be a very big project and the corners are going to be one of the keystones of my layout. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any interest in these products, I will leave a link to TrixBrix in the description. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye-bye.